Hi FlossTube, my name is Robin. I'm the Thrifty Artist Stitching on Instagram and now I guess on YouTube. So here we go. Wanted to do a WIP parade. Wanted to start this FlossTube for a while, so I thought I would just jump in here and get going today. A little about myself. I am almost 60. I'm married to the same guy for 40 years. We live in the Panhandle of Florida. We have one daughter. She is 33 tomorrow. She lives in New Mexico, so we don't get to see her very much, but we get to FaceTime a lot, so thank goodness for FaceTime. I've been a stitcher for 40 plus years. I started when I was in high school, like most people, all through the 80s, 90s when our daughter was little, and then kind of gave it up for a few years. Surprisingly, I did not start back during COVID like a lot of people did. I got into the jigsaw puzzles during COVID. So, but about, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, I started going down the rabbit hole of YouTube and ran into a FlossTube, and I thought, what in the world? So I started watching, you know, some of the bigger channels that everybody knows now, and joined their Facebook groups, started buying stash again, and here we go. So I had a huge stash before 2015, and I actually sold most of it. Didn't think I'd stitch again, and so here we are. So I'm gonna do a WIP parade, and I don't have a whole lot of WIPs. Like a lot of people, I was a monogamous stitcher for a long time until I fell down the rabbit hole of FlossTube, and now I have 12 or 13 WIPs. I don't have a whole lot, but I do have a WIP Go board that has several new starts for this year. I'm easily influenced by other FlossTubers, and it is what it is. So figured I would just share my WIPs with you, and let's go get started. First one is, I've never been a full coverage stitcher, or I didn't know that's what it was called until I ran into FlossTube. So I'd always stitched big projects, small projects. I have a few hanging on my wall, which I may do I'll do a show and tell one day, but I don't have a whole lot of finished projects. We lost our house in 2018 in Hurricane Michael, and I did toss a lot of things that were molded, mildewed, couldn't be salvaged, so that kind of hurt. But I did save a few things that are on hanging on the wall, and I'll show those later. But I didn't know what full coverage meant, so I've jumped down that rabbit hole, and now I've started a stitching shelf by Heaven and Earth Designs. Amy Stewart's the artist. I love her puzzles, so I thought, why not stitch something? Thinking, won't take long, a couple years maybe. Maybe by the time I'm 70, I'll have this one finished. So I'm sure everybody knows what a stitching shelf is. It's beautiful. Love it. Haven't done this puzzle. Surprised I haven't, because I think I've done all of her puzzles. I don't know if this one's even a puzzle, but I've done a lot of her puzzles. Joined their Facebook group, you know, the whole thing. I now own 6 or 7 Heaven and Earth designs that I'll probably never stitch in my lifetime, but that's okay. Collecting and stitching is 2 separate hobbies that we all know of. Yes. So anyway, so here I am, a very small start. This was my New Year's new start. That's about 600 stitches-ish, 600-ish. I posted it on the Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group, and I said, oh, look, 600 stitches. And somebody, of course, made a comment and said, you're almost done. I said, yeah, sure. So this is stitched on 25 count, 1/1 on the Easy Grid Lugana. I didn't think I'd be able to see the holes. You know, when you get 60, your eyes are terrible. But surprisingly, it's not bad. So I'm excited to work on that. My next one is Jardin Pervez, Lady Halloween. I saw Laura at Stitching by the Shore when she did hers. Thanks, Laura. You're a good enabler. Let me tell you, I think half the things I'm stitching I got from your channel, so thank you. But she did this one, and she did the witch's hair in purple, and I thought that is so cute. So, of course, I'm going down there and her hair's going to be purple, or it is purple. So here's where my WIP is. And this one, I ended up having to frog out the entire hair and the witch's hat because it's off by a half a stitch. You know, when you stitch 2 over 2 and it gets off a half of a stitch, it's kind of frustrating. So I did frog it all out. It left residue. I'm hoping that I can just stitch her hat wider and cover it up. If I can't, I've even thought of using felt, cut it out in the shape of a hat and sewing it on. Not beyond doing that. I kind of improvise, so, you know, of course, FlossTube itchy nose is the thing. Everybody says that, so I'm just going to itch my nose when it itches. So here's my WIP. This fabric is 28 count Jobelin by Bee Stitch Me, and the name of it is Sorbet. So I'm in Brandy. I love Brandy's fabrics. I'm in her Fabric of the Month Club. That's kind of a better picture of it, the modeling. I need to put some, I need a board. I need a board. There you go. This right here is really good modeling of it. But you can see the hat where I frogged all that out. So I've tried several things to get it out. Did the whole, you know, eraser thing. And it's just, I think it's just, it is what it is. So I did have purple for her hair in there. I used the, not the Etoile, but the DMC metallic. And it was okay, but the black that I used, I don't remember what I used. It wasn't DMC, it was some overdyed, I think. And it definitely left a stain. So, but I'll fix it. I'll either stitch her hat wider or something. You won't be able to see it when it's done. So, all right, next one. And you know, everybody says on FlossTube when they're doing these WIP parades or showing their projects, oh, I have a mess. Oh, I have a mess. That is the truth. You end up with a giant mess on your floor, on your table, everywhere you are. All right, next one, Land That I Love. This came out of Just Cross Stitch magazine from summer 2024. I did buy the PDF because I don't, now that I've found Markup RXP, didn't know that was a thing. Not a fan of paper charts anymore at all. So I did buy the PDF version from Annie's Attic, I think. I don't remember where I got it from. But it's the chart. Hang on, I'll show you my iPad since it loads. So here's the PDF version. That's what it'll look like when it's done. And I don't know if I'll ever finish this one. I like it. I love patriotic stitching. I've stitched Lady of the Flag, Mirabilia, back right after 9/11. It's hanging in my hallway. It was one of the ones I salvaged from the hurricane, thank goodness. I have a picture of her on my Instagram, so you can go check her out if you want to. But I love patriotic stitching, but I don't know, I just can't get into this one, so we'll see. I have a very small start. That's where I am. Hang on, let me put, so you can see it better. There you go. That's where I'm at. And my needle minder, I made my needle minder. It was a like a hat pin. I'm a Jeep girl, so I drive a Jeep. I always wanted a Jeep Wrangler when I was in high school. My parents were like, "Not buying one because you're going to get killed in it. You'll have a wreck." And so a couple years ago, my cousin, who is the same age as me, we're about 12 weeks apart, grew up like sisters. She bought a Jeep. Her husband bought a Jeep. My brother bought a Jeep. And I said, guess what? I'm going to buy me a Jeep. So I had a pickup truck that, you know, I live in the South. Girls drive trucks. That I never really, I loved it. It was a very nice truck. Loved it. Bought it after the hurricane because the hurricane got my car. My husband wanted the truck, but during COVID, you know, right after COVID, the price of cars were ridiculous. They're ridiculous anyway, but they were extremely ridiculous. And trucks were worth a whole lot more than you bought them for. So I ended up trading that truck for a Jeep, and I'm so glad. So I'll post a picture of my Jeep. Maybe I can figure out how to insert a picture here if anybody cares. So anyway, there's my WIP. Get off on a tangent on Jeeps because I'm a big Jeep girl. So I don't go out and I don't go mud riding. I just like driving a Jeep, and I like decorating my Jeep with my for my cricket machine. So all right, number 3 is Zuka Pumpkin. I couldn't think of the name of it. Sorry. Zuka Pumpkin by Alexandra. I don't know how you say the designer. Alessandra. Anyway, here's the pattern. Alessandra Adelaide, I think that's how you say it. So there's the pattern. That's what it looks like when it's stitched in the orange color. I am doing it in white. I saw Allie and Amy from Lost Our Needles. Amy's the mom, Allie's the daughter. And Allie is my daughter's name. So I was watching them, and Amy, the mom, stitched this in white as a white pumpkin. Also, Megan from Georgia Girl Stitching. She stitched it, I don't know if hers was white or maybe it was white on aqua fabric. Megan's a big beach girl too, so we have a lot in common, even though she's young enough to be my daughter. So here's mine. I love, 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 love this fabric. So I'm doing it all in this white. Actually, I think it's Weeks Dye Works is what I'm doing it in. And it is, hang on, Grits. Weeks Dye Works, Grits. And this is 28 count Wicked by Be Stitch Me. And I love, like I said, I love Brandy's fabrics. So cute. So I want to get this one finished before the fall so I can get it framed. And I've never really been a Halloween stitcher, but I think 4 of my WIPs are Halloweenish. So I have a wall that I want to hang things on for Halloween. All right, next one is Satsuma Street. And it's called Black Cat, maybe? Satsuma Street. I don't know what it's called. I call it Black Cat just because it's easier to remember. My black cat. Here's the color picture of it. Oh, turn back around. There you go. So that's Satsuma Street. And this is where I'm at, not very much. Started the cat, started the moon. And this is Be Stitch Me 28 count Periwinkle, I think is the name of it. It's kind of purplish. Looks more blue, but it has a lot of purple in it. It's a little bit lighter than what the called for fabric is. But he'll be cute. And he's not very big, so. All right. Next one is Santa's House by the fabulous Cottage Garden Samplings Fabulous House series. So Allison at Cross Stitch the Globe, or Stephanie. I think it's Allison that's stitching it. No, maybe Stephanie. One of the sisters is stitching. I don't know which one. Laura's stitching it. Andrew the Runner Stitcher stitching it. Helen D stitching it. So I joined with them. I started it on Christmas Day. And this is, it's stitched on 28 count Frost by Be Stitch Me, which is an opalescent, it's a opal lugana. It's called Frost. I don't know if you can see the, yeah, you can see the sparkly fabric. I think it'll turn out really cute. I did change the color of the red in the house. The called for is Ladybug from Classic Colorworks, I think. And I ordered it and it was a little too pink for my taste. So I changed this. What what am I using? And I changed it to the DMC variegated right here. Hang on, let me stick this behind it so you can see. The DMC variegated, which is C, no, that's not it. That's it right there. DMC 4210. Can you see it kind of? And then I decided to add an étoile in with it. So it's variegated. I don't know if you can see it or not. Variegated and étoile. So that's my house colors, but I had never used étoile, never really heard of it until Laura, Stitching by the Shore. She used it in several of hers, so I thought, well, let me just try it. And I like it. I think it looks good. I wasn't wild about the pink in the called for. Okay. Next one is Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's a Halloween sampler, round sampler. Hang on, I'll show you the color picture in a second. As soon as it loads. There you go. This is it. And I'm stitching this to go in, I don't know if you've seen the bat mirror frame from Joann Fabrics. Saw it during the Halloween holidays, and I thought, well, that's cute. So I'm stitching it to go in that frame. I have the frame, I just don't have the cross stitch finished. So this is where I am on this one. It's 28 count periwinkle from Be Stitch Me. So this is the other half of the fabric from the Black Cat, the Satsuma Black Cat. And it's not showing up. It is very purple, but it's, there you go. That's kind of, it's kind of more that purpley instead of blue. It's more purpley, kind of blowing out. So want to get that one finished also. You know, want to get them all finished, don't we? I'm more of a product stitcher than a process stitcher. I want to stitch it, I want to finish it, and I want it finished, fully finished, either hanging on my wall, made into a pillow, something. So I'm a I do enjoy the process, but I'm a product stitcher. When I stitch something, I don't stitch just to be stitching. I stitch because I need a finished product at some point. Now, you know, some of these may not be for a while, but it's sometime down the road I want a finished product. Okay, next one is Lighthouse. Oh, and I didn't take it out of the package, sorry. It's a little glary. Lighthouse from Cottage Garden Samplings. And since I live at the beach, which I don't live on the beach, I live on a canal that goes into the Gulf of Mexico. So we spend a lot of time on the water. We have a boat. We don't have a lighthouse here in Panama City or Panama City Beach. Their nearest one is probably Apalachicola. It's a couple hour drive from here. St. George Island over in that direction, there's a lighthouse, but we don't have one here, but I still like them. So this was, I'm sure I saw it, somebody stitching it and said, oh, I need to stitch that too. And this is stitched on 28 count Aquarius from SB Stitch Me. And I'm a blue girl too. I love blue fabrics. I love the blue hand dyeds. I'm not wild about this color right here. It's kind of a pink color. It doesn't show up like that on camera real well, but sorry, my light it must have gotten darker all of a sudden. We've had a lot of clouds and rain. Here, let me turn it that way. That's a little better. So it's kind of a pink. I'm not wild about it, so I think I'm actually going to change that color and use a darker red. That's more red. This is it's definitely looks kind of salmonish pink. I'm not wild about it, so we'll see. Wish this fabric show up. That's kind of, that's better. It's kind of that color. Okay. And this fabric this is a fat quarter. So this pattern will only come down probably to about midway. So I'll have the whole thing. I haven't cut it off yet. I usually cut my fabric and not serge, but do a zigzag stitch. I have a sewing machine behind me. But I haven't that one yet. I just haven't got around to it yet. The next one is huge again. I like big projects. I may have to stand up to show this one because the fabric is ginormous. I don't even know if I can get it all in the picture. I can't, there's no way. Anyway, the fabric is this big. Oh, it's upside down, sorry. This is the fabric. And I'll stand up. Yeah, it's huge. This is going to be Mill Hill Christmas Village. And I think there's about 24, 28 village houses. Not sure. I saw Amanda, the Lucky Chance stitcher. She's a Canadian stitcher. I think she was probably one of the first floss tubers I ran into just perusing YouTube. And she has stitched at least 16 of these houses. I'd say 16 houses, all on one piece of fabric. And I was like, I'm stitching that. I don't care if it takes me forever. I'm stitching that. And of course, everybody knows the Mill Hill kits. They were hard to get until they're just now coming back out from COVID. They're still hard to get. I ordered some on eBay. I ordered some from different shops. I called different shops. I stalked the destashed groups on Facebook. I even ordered some from England, a girl that was selling them. She was so sweet to me. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll sell them to you. I'll never stitch it. So anyway, I'm only on the first one, the Cathedral, St. Nicholas Cathedral. It's going to be the I'll say the center, because I'm doing 24 buildings, houses, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to try to do 24 if I can do it. So this one is the one I started with, and I did a center start in this fabric because I'm terrified of starting in a corner and then realizing, oh, I don't have enough room. So I'm a center start girl usually. So I've only done part of the church. I mean, a very, very small part. Very, very small part. So this fabric is 32 count Stormy Vintage, and it's a printed fabric. So it's plain gray on the back. And then, so I'm hoping this looks kind of like a cloudy, wintry sky one day if I ever finish it. I would like to do, I'd like to get at least 5 houses done this year. We'll see. I was thinking 1 a month, but you know, that was really ambitious. So I doubt that'll happen, which who knows. So it's a huge piece of fabric. I don't know. I know I don't need all of this fabric, but I didn't want to cut it down any smaller. So, all right. My next WIP is Summer Quaker by Leela Studio. And most people have seen this one. A lot of people stitched it. That's my PDF copy. Here's the picture. So most people have seen this. I love this. So that, the quote on there, I actually have painted that quote on a board. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I have to stitch that one too, because it's beachy. And I think Laura influenced this one too. So Laura, thank you. You've been terrible for my credit card, but great for my stitching. So this is where I am on this one. Oh, my lighting's terrible. It started out good. It's getting at the end of the day. You know, the wintertime, the sun goes down and it gets dark again. Even in Florida, we get dark. So there, that's better. It's kind of it's a real aqua. It's a printed fabric too. It's a 32 count printed. I don't know the name of it. I bought it at the same time I bought that gray. That's a printed. I don't know the name of this one though. I'll have to find it. I'll post it down below. But it's a 32 count even weave. I'm not much of a linen stitcher. I do stitch some on linen, but not much. Used to stitch on Aida, and I do stitch on some Aida. Mostly I'm an even weave stitcher though. Okay, and my last WIP is Mirabilia's Enchanted Mermaid. This is from 2005. And I actually, this is one of my patterns I had back from the stitching days, the years ago stitching days. Kept it, held on to it, held on to it. And when I got back into stitching this year, that was the first thing I picked up. This one was the first one I started and said, I want her finished and on my wall. Because I have the Lady of the Flag Mirabilia, and I also have another Mirabilia. I can't say that well. A lot of people have trouble with that. I have another Nora Corbett fancy lady. I think she's Angel of Grace, I think is the name of her. She's purples and golds and greens. And back in the early 2000s, late 90s, I stitched her and I salvaged her from the hurricane. So I have a couple fancy ladies, and she'll be my third one. And this is where I am on her. She's so pretty. She's a blingy girl. Her beads and her treasures and her crinics, and she's not cheap, that's for sure. She's not a cheap girl to kit up, but she sure is pretty. The fabric is a blue, kind of a very, very pale. It's not real mottled, but it's kind of just a pale blue. I don't know, it's a known fabric. I had it from my original stashing days too, so it's probably 20 years old at least. So that's where she is. And she is actually my focus. I want to get her finished. I would like to get her finished by the end of this month. I don't know if I can. Maybe the stitching will get done, and then all I'll have left is the beading. I've done some of the beads up here just because I wanted to see what they looked like. Some of the beads have been discontinued by Mill Hill. So there's actually a Mirabilia group. And I ordered the bead kit from her. I don't remember what her name is. I'll have to put it down below. And there's a lot of substitutions. Some substitutions, I don't say a lot. There's a few substitutions for the treasures and the beads because they've been discontinued. So I was trying out a few just to see how they look. I would say this. If I had to do it again, I would probably just buy my own beads. I have a bead stash. I'll turn you around and let you see my craft room in just a minute. Maybe I won't make you sick if I turn you around. I inherited a bead stash from family member and then a family friend. Both of them passed away during COVID. And I've always been a crafter. And my mom called me and said, hey, you know, her husband wants to know, do you want her beads? And I said, sure, I'll take them. Didn't know they were going to fill up the entire back hatch of a small SUV. And I'm talking entire hatch back of a small SUV. Probably more beads than Hobby Lobby and Michael's put together. So I inherited those, and then my aunt passed away in 2021. I think it's 21. And her daughter-in-law asked me, do you want her beads? And I said, sure, I'll take them, not knowing it was about the same amount. So I've given beads away, and I've given beads away, and I've given beads away. I've made things. So anyway, what I was going to say is I would probably just pull from stash. Had I known what beads were being discontinued and what needed to be, or what they've suggested on the project, I think you could find enough that it would save you money if you bought your own beads. So I would probably do that next time. So that is my WIP parade. I hope you enjoyed it. I will turn you around. I don't want to make you sick, but I'm going to turn you a little bit. So you can see my, that's my fancy floss. I don't have a whole lot of fancy floss. I usually use DMC, but let me turn you around. I have a dream box. So when we rebuilt our house from the hurricane, I told my husband, I said, I've always wanted one. You can't see it real good. I'll back you up. I'll try to insert a picture because I have some pictures of my craft room. So, but you can see all of the, where's my hand? I can't find my hand. All of those, that's all beads. So I had enough I could have pulled from stash, but it is what it is. So I bought what was called for, recommended, but I'd probably not do that again. So, okay, I think that is all. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try to come back maybe at the end of January and just show a quick update. It might be the end of February. I don't know if I'm going to do probably won't be every 2 weeks, but maybe every 3 weeks or even once a month. I know a lot of people just do a once a month update, and I may do the same. I work full time, so I don't stitch except in the evenings, sometimes on the weekends, but usually we're busy on the weekends. So I don't get a whole lot of time to stitch, just a few hours in the evenings. So we'll see how much progress I get made. But thanks for coming. Enjoy. Happy stitching.